Hey everyone, Corbin here from Silver Screen Guide, and I am giving you my top 10 best movies of 2016. Now, before I get into it, I want to say that on the website at silverscreenguide.wordpress.com, you can read my article over the 12 worst movies I saw in 2016. They did not have to be releases, brand new releases of 2016. They could be films from any decade, from any year. They were just the worst films that I saw that year, and they range from just simply disappointing to downright horrific that nobody should watch. They're just that horrible. I also have a list up there to show you every single new movie, not a brand new release, but it was new to me, meaning I had never seen it before. New movie that I had seen for every month of this year. I'm trying to make that a tradition. I started that in 2015, I did it this year in 2016, and I plan on doing it in 2017. It's not always easy keeping track, remembering to write down every new film that I hadn't seen before. So there may be a couple, one, two, maybe three, that are not on that list that I have seen, but I believe it is around 66, 67 films that I had seen. I'm really trying to make this into a tradition. I think it's a really fun thing to do. So I think it'd be awesome if more people did that with me, and we all could share what new movies we saw, how many we saw for which month is the highest in how many movies we've seen, and maybe we could kind of track with it that way, and just do that. I also have a summer challenge that I will be talking about next summer. It is a crazy challenge, but stay tuned for that. That's not the video. This is not the time for it. I will also be doing an article talking about my most anticipated movies for 2017. There's a ton of great ones coming up. Make sure to stay tuned for that article. That will be up very soon. Now, I'm sure there are movies that came out in 2016. No, I'm certain there are movies that came out in 2016 that are far better than a couple of the ones that I have chosen. But I am a poor college student, and that means I don't have a lot of time on my hands, nor do I have a lot of money. So there are plenty of movies that I wish I could have seen this year, but I just didn't have the time or the money. So some more prestigious reviewers here on YouTube will have top 10 lists that feature movies that I don't have, simply because they have far more time and more money than I do. So that is why certain movies that I'd probably like to include on this list won't be on this list. So let's just jump into it.
Number 10.
Captain America: Civil War. Now, Civil War, in my opinion, I was not very pleased with it at first, because I had read the graphic novel, and I did a summary of each part of the graphic novel to give people an idea of what to expect, hopefully, before they saw Civil War. And they did change a lot, and some of the changes I felt were to the film's detriment. They should have retained some of that from the graphic novel, and it wasn't there. So I was really disappointed with certain aspects. Also, it was way too long. It was an incredibly long film. It had wonderful action. I love the inclusion of Black Panther. He was really in it a lot, and that really is setting people up for the Black Panther film, which I'm very excited about. It did have amazing visual effects, great action. I did get it for Christmas. That's what you just saw there. I haven't even opened it yet. It's been, I don't know how many months, 6 months since it's been out maybe. I believe it was a summer release. So it's been a while. I'm going to revisit it with an open mind now that the graphic novel is out of my mind. I think that's how a lot of people go when they read a book, and then especially when the movie or film doesn't necessarily, it's loosely based off, or loosely follows a structure, or it completely deviates, like the recent Atlas Shrugged adaptations completely deviated from the source material. I was severely disappointed with that. I only saw the first one. I did not care to go back and see the others. This is not Atlas Shrugged. This is not that bad. Some people, Rotten Tomatoes, gave it a ridiculously high score. Some of the other reviewers were giving it incredible acclaim, incredible praise. This is some people's like number one favorite pick of the year. Definitely not mine. This is the number 10 spot. Still a great superhero action film, especially to see them come together like that, which we have seen this year. Also, again, this was the year for versus and matchup.
Number 9.
Batman v Superman. Now, you can kind of see it right there, if I'm pointing to it right. Yeah, that is the Best Buy Steelbook, and it's a gorgeous looking Steelbook. It's also a reversible. Superman's on the other side, and he has Batman's insignia burned across his face. So I had to pick up the Steelbook. I did have some issues with it in the theater. I mean, it was an incredible experience in the IMAX. Some of the editing was terribly done. The linear narrative, the structure had a lot of flaws with it. I loved Ben Affleck. He was the best part of that film. Snyder was really, if you can see, right behind the Christmas set is the big Watchmen set, and Snyder just really tries to tell these overpopulated, really filled stories, and that's what he was trying to do with this. He was really trying to make it this giant packed film, which is what I felt Civil War was, but Civil War seemed a little more grounded, whereas Batman v Superman was really just going over the top in a lot of areas and trying to fill in a lot of story in that time. The Ultimate Cut did fix a lot of the issues, but it's a very kind of grim tale at 3 hours long. It is a hard one to sit through, honestly. Thankfully, the Ultimate Cut did patch up those editing issues and filled in a lot of gaps, making it a better film. I wish that would have been the theatrical version already. I just feel the studio's trying to make money that way. But nevertheless, honestly, I would probably reach for Batman v Superman before I did Civil War, just because I love Batman. I love the action in that film. In the theater, I enjoyed it more in the theater than I did for Civil War. I know that is crazy controversial. Probably not very many people agree with me. I know a lot of reviewers, and some that I really respect, were very let down by the film, and I felt like it got some undeserved negativity and publicity. So I think when people give it a few years, they'll come back, and I think they'll warm to it a little better than what they did at first. But like Rotten Tomatoes score, completely uncalled for. It was in the 20s, the 20%. That's wrong. That's bogus. That's what caused me to delete the Flickster Rotten Tomatoes app. I just don't go off of that rating anymore. So for me, it was my 9th pick of the year. I felt it was that good.
Number 8.
My number 8 pick is Jason Bourne. I was really glad to see Matt Damon come back to the Bourne series, and Paul Greengrass or Tony Gilroy? I don't remember. They were involved with both. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I was really pleased to see that team return and see Matt Damon return to his Bourne series. The film, I enjoyed it. It wasn't everything I was hoping for. It wasn't up to the caliber of the original trilogy. I would say maybe close to the caliber of the Bourne Ultimatum, which I felt was the weakest in the trilogy. The Bourne Legacy, I would probably reach for Jason Bourne before Bourne Legacy, although Bourne Legacy, I feel, is a fun movie. It's a solid addition, but it's just not really a part of that Bourne trilogy in my mind. It is its own thing. It's possible we will be getting a 5th Bourne film with, I don't know, everybody, it's been changing. It could be Jeremy Renner, that's it. There could be a team up between Jeremy Renner and Matt Damon in a future film. I don't know. That is what this one was supposed to be originally. Then they kind of rebooted it with just Jason Bourne, and now there's talks that Jeremy Renner may just get a sequel solo film to the Bourne Legacy, and Damon's going to get his own sequel film to the Bourne franchise. So the future of the franchise is kind of up in the air. I would love to see a fifth Matt Damon film comeback. I really felt like this was just kind of a nibble to get audiences interested and intrigued, but then they're going to really pull out the big guns, especially as they go forward. I think they're doing something very similar with Star Wars. Episode 7 left a lot to be, I don't want to say it left a lot to be desired. It was a great film and a great standalone film, but you know it's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more beneath the surface that we're just waiting to see. So Jason Bourne, I enjoyed it. I think we've got greater things to come.
Number 7.
My number 7 pick, which some of you will think is crazy, but Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart. They worked great together. I felt it was really funny. Some of it was a little too raunchy for my taste, but I felt like they worked awesome together. It was really fun action. We've seen this kind of duo team up before, style of movie before, but I felt for this one it really worked. I really had a lot of fun with it. I would definitely reach for Central Intelligence before I reached for Jason Bourne and those others, just because it's a fun blend of action and comedy. It was a fun film for 2016.
Number 6.
Hail Caesar. The Coen brothers never cease to impress me with their films. I'm a huge fan of Fargo. I own, here on the shelf, I own Fargo Season 1. I own the movie. I have watched Season 2, waiting to get that on Blu-ray. I'm really looking forward to Fargo Season 3. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is a great one I saw for the first time this year. I also own No Country for Old Men, which did win Best Picture of the Year. They are incredible. Those guys are geniuses. Their stories are so wonderfully crafted. The Big Lebowski is so funny. The Coen brothers are great, and I really felt like this was kind of their love letter to old Hollywood, and it really captured the feel and the vibe of those old style of movies. It perfectly embodied that with a really fun story, a great cast that really played these kind of quirky, down-to-earth characters like their characters in the movie, in their films, normally do. Hail Caesar, I saw that one for my birthday back when that came out, the very beginning of the year. So I was really pleased to see that one. I really am looking forward to adding that to my collection.
Number 5.
Zootopia. I got this one for Christmas also. This is a wonderful Disney film. I was so impressed with the story structure, the animation, the heart that it had, the characters that really came to life and embodied real life situations and people, and it's just a really great family film that all ages can enjoy. Zootopia is just a great, solid film. Disney's doing great with these, and Pixar. They're really cranking out. Inside Out before that, last year, was a wonderful film. I was really impressed with that, and Zootopia came back. I saw it once at the drive-in, and I really enjoyed it, and I really look forward to popping it in the theater room right in there. I've got a theater room right in there. I'm really looking forward to revisiting that. My family hasn't seen it, so I'm looking forward to joining in that experience with them and discovering this film anew. Just a solid film, solid storytelling that really knew its direction, knew what it was doing, and really embraced it and put it out there.
Number 4.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a really fun film. I really enjoyed it. I just saw it last month. J.K. Rowling did a wonderful job writing this film and bringing it back to the big screen. And it was neat how she's taking something other than, and from a previously published source material from her book. And I'm really excited to see J.K. Rowling revisit the world of Harry Potter and do its own thing. I loved the set design. The set design was wonderful. The production design, costumes, everything, the acting, the characters were so much fun, and it was just it was a real joy to kind of see that Wizarding World come back, and it's really setting it up for something great. This is just the beginning. A lot of films I feel are doing that, as I've already said. Star Wars was one of them. They're really just getting you prepared and getting you into it, and it still works as a wonderful standalone film. I love seeing an expansion of the Wizarding World, especially now in America. I really, really like this film. That's why it's in my top 5 best of the year.
Number 3.
10 Cloverfield Lane was a massive surprise to me. I had no idea really what to expect going into this film. I knew it was somehow connected with the original Cloverfield, which I do own, and which I think is a good film. It's one of the better, or best, I guess you could say, found footage films, and especially monster movies of this year. J.J. Abrams had a hand in that, and he really did a great job with kind of like taking an old aspect and making it new with that. And this is exactly what they did with the sequel, 10 Cloverfield Lane. This is a very Hitchcockian film. I own nearly all of Hitchcock's films. You can't see it, but it's right off of the camera. I own the big Masterpiece Collection box set of Hitchcock's films, and I'm telling you, this is a Hitchcock film in the 21st century. I was so blown away. I saw it twice within the span of 2 or 3 days. I had to go back. I had to go see it. I really can't wait to add this one to my collection. I will be adding it as soon as I can. But 10 Cloverfield Lane, the performances were solid. The story, I love the story. It's really unique, and especially when they blended in sci-fi. And it really was a mystery. It kept me guessing, like, is this really have anything to do with Cloverfield? Some people felt like the ending came out of nowhere. If you had seen Cloverfield, aliens really wouldn't be a surprise. I really like how they're their own separate films with their own separate filmmaking styles and a different cast of characters, but they're still all connected in the universe, and they all kind of connect together that way. It's a really unique take on a franchise that I don't believe I've seen before. Making sequels that loosely connect and are still in the same universe, but not necessarily. Marvel aside, because those are meant to really connect in that way. That's a completely different thing. So, 10 Cloverfield Lane, if you haven't seen it, it is my number 3 pick. It is wonderful. It's a great thriller, a great mystery, a very solid film, and I'm really looking forward to the third one, The God Particle, which is coming out next year, just in a couple months actually.
Number 2.
Rogue One blew me away. It is incredible. I put a post on Facebook right after I saw it. I said, never has a Star Wars film brought me to tears and then made me clap with joy like 10 minutes later. I was really blown away by Rogue One. The first hour or so, I did have some pacing issues. It was a little slow getting into it. I wasn't really sure what to expect, where this was going. Honestly, about maybe a little before the midway point, I started to doze a little bit. I was really tired that morning, but the third act completely made up for whatever was lacking before. And I'm sure when I go back and revisit that, I'll have a better experience. I'll know it's coming. I'll be able to understand what's going on a little better and what we're working towards. But I really felt that they took elements from the prequels and integrated them nicely, which I really appreciate Disney doing that, kind of smoothing over the bad feelings of the prequels by still even talking about it in episode 7 and now in Rogue One. Rogue One felt so close to episode 4, A New Hope. I mean, Gareth Edwards lovingly recreated that feeling. I can't wait to own Rogue One. I can't wait to see it again. I saw it 3D IMAX. Truly jaw-dropping experience. It was incredible. And I was really excited to see they actually made this into a great film. Because when I heard the plot synopsis, what it was going to be about, I thought, really? We're going back to the Death Star after this is basically the 4th time. And the story just didn't seem like there was a whole lot there. It's just taken from a chunk of episode 4 and a little bit from the opening crawl is what I meant to say, and then in the end, and they just made that into a film. So I really wasn't sure what to think about that, but I was really pleased to see that they brought a lot of heart to it, and they resolved one of the main issues. Don't worry, no spoilers. They resolved one of the main issues with episode 4 concerning the Death Star. I won't get into it here. Highly recommend Rogue One. That is exactly why it gets my number 2 spot. It was just a truly wonderful Star Wars film, up in the top.
Number 1.
My number 1 pick came out in January, at the very, very beginning of 2016. It will go down as one of the greatest films of all time, and it seriously should have won Best Picture of the Year. Thankfully, the director won. Thankfully, Leonardo DiCaprio won. Do you know what it is? The Revenant. The Revenant, which I also got for Christmas, which I am so happy about this one. I'm so happy to put this in my collection because this is a masterpiece. This is a modern masterpiece of cinematography, of filmmaking, of acting, of storytelling. I've never ever seen a film of this caliber, and that is why The Revenant gets my number 1 spot of the best movie of 2016. It was in the 2015 Oscars just because it edged in right before the cutoff point. It came in January, the Oscars were in February, but it still came out in 2016, so it absolutely gets my number 1 spot of the best movie of the year. I saw it once in theaters pretty much a year ago now. It's been about a year since I've seen it. Now I own it on Blu-ray. I cannot wait to go put it in the theater room and just really immerse myself. This is one of the most immersive films ever made. I can't wait to go immerse myself back into the world of The Revenant and really just enjoy that film again. I'm so excited for that. So that is my top 10 best movies of 2016. I look forward to what 2017 has to hold. Remember, silverscreenguide.wordpress.com. I will be putting up my most anticipated movies of 2017. Come back a year from now, I will be giving you another top 10 list of the best movies of 2017. Maybe next year I'll make a video of the worst movies of 2017. Also, I really appreciate you watching this. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to share it with your friends. Make sure to follow us at Silver Screen Guide on Facebook and Twitter so you can always stay up to date with the latest posts. Make sure to follow our podcast. Alan, my co-host, and we really do podcasts. That's why we don't do as much videos, because we both are in college and we really don't have a lot of time to film, to edit them together. We're mostly always doing homework or something related with school. But during break, we do like to do videos and put those up and write more articles. We try to get a couple articles out per week, at least one per week. But that may not always be possible because of school. We do put podcasts out regularly. We have a Rambo retrospective series you can go listen to. We are finishing up our Hannibal Lecter retrospective series. I have Clone Wars reviews up that I'm continuing to update. We also have bonus podcasts. We do have a Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger bonus podcast that costs $1 just to listen to. That $1 does really help us out. Pay for the website, pay for the hosting fees. So if you really want to listen to that Commando bonus podcast, we would really appreciate it. That is a part of the Rambo retrospective series. We always do a bonus podcast with every retrospective series, and those bonus podcasts will be just $1. $1 is not much at all. It's really nothing. So make sure to stay tuned because we will be doing Prisoners, which is roughly around, it's going to be a little under 3 hours once we get all the editing complete. It's taking a long time to edit that one because we really go in depth with Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners starring Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. So make sure that should be out within the next few days. Really make sure to go ahead and pay that $1 because you're really going to get a lot for your dollar. You're going to really go in depth with us into that podcast. So we really appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate the views. We appreciate the subscribers following on the podcast, on the YouTube, on our website, on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure to tell your friends if you enjoy this video. and you enjoy the content that we put out. We do this because we love it. Honestly, we don't do it for the views. We don't do it for the likes or any sort of popularity. We do it because we love movies. I've always loved films ever since I was a kid. So that's why I do it. I just do it because I have fun doing it, and it's just something I enjoy. So if you enjoy it too, make sure to tell your friends about us. Make sure to subscribe so we can start a dialogue together and we can talk about movies together and just have fun enjoying that passion together. So I really do appreciate you spending your time watching my top 10 movies of 2016. I'm really looking forward to what 2017 brings, and I will definitely see you then. Until next time.